Alain, you know exactly how to blend a cognac, how to take all the letters of the alphabet and create new words. When it comes to Frapin, when it comes to Chateau de Fontpinault, is there something unusual to the maturation and to the blending of it?
Yes. The big leitmotif or the big motto of our brief is to monitor the passage of the new spirit from a humid cellar to a dry cellar, and to balance the times the cognac will spend in the one cellar and the other. The other thing is the barrels. We put everything in new barrels from any period of time, from 8 months to a year and a half. Then it will go to what we call des fûts roux. It means red colored, but it's barrels which are about 3 to 4 years that have already been used. And then we will put the cognac in older barrels. But the transition of the cognacs from one barrel to the other, one type of cellar to the other, is the magic. It's the big secret.
Can you reveal those secrets of humid cellars and dry cellars?
Of course.
While I pour one of those.
In a humid cellar, you have humidity, water in the air. Therefore, alcohol, which is lighter than water, will tend to evaporate, and not the liquids, the water, thank you, of the cognac. In a dry cellar, the water contained in the cognac will have a tendency to evaporate through the wood, and you will end up with a bigger concentration, in theory, of alcohol into the barrel. So you will have a different type of concentration of the cognac in a dry cellar and in a humid cellar. The concentration from the wood and the molecules in the wood contained in the cognac in a humid cellar will give you depth, roundness, very soft and mellow texture. The concentration in a dry cellar will emphasize the spices of the molecule from the wood. It will push a little the fresh vanilla. It will enhance the floral taste and aromas. And you need to balance those.
Thank you.
This is superb. You're getting something
Very
that you
rich.
call rancio.
Uh-huh.
And the rancio is this impossible word.
Big. It's not
No?
big. It's present.
Rancio is this very difficult word to define. It's this balance of contraries. It's mellowness, liveliness, it's the spice, and it's the smoothness. It's it brings everything together that normally should be antagonist, you know, the taste and aromas which should be fighting. But in very old cognacs, all these flavors and aromas, they mingle together and they make a perfect whole.
So how old is this then?
That particular cognac is between 18 and 20 years of age, with essentially a dry cellar aging.
I see.
I can tell you a secret about Frapin. Years ago, one of the cellar master and one of our coopers ran into an idea. One day I will bring a stave. They use corrugated staves inside the barrels. So it's like a corrugated roof. And it increases the surface of the wood in contact with the cognac by about 25%. And that's already baked. But the other thing is, we toast our barrels, and lightly. When you toast them, you can still see the fibers of the wood behind the toasting. But by doing this, not with fire, but with induction, like it's a metallic cone inside the barrels, which spreads the heat. The top of the corrugation of the wood gets toasted heavier than the bottom. Therefore, we have a very refined and progressive toasting effect that helps to the aging than in just a plain one. So in one barrel, we have nearly 3 different types of toasting: the top, the bottom, and the sides. And it's kind of magical.
Well, would you tell us what's going on now? Because that was a few years ago. What's going on now that we should be expecting to see in a bottle, say in 10 years? What are the experiments going on at Frapin, besides the Foligno?
On the aging process, I just gave you one of the elements what we are doing.
What else?
And we do have quite a few vintages, which are perfectly controlled through this technique of aging and going into the barrels. And we came up a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, that's going to be the 4th year, for France exclusively for the time being, with a multi-vintage blend.
That's a big thing, and that made Frapin quite famous, if it was not already famous enough.
We were the first one to do it.
The multi-millésime, especially the first one,
was
a breakthrough. I mean,
it was a breakthrough, and it was voted in London against and above single malts, the best world spirit. That was quite an event and quite something. And no cognac had ever won such an accolade. So we are doing it now every year, choosing the blends, equal parts, generally 3 that go to bed or in the blend perfectly together. I'm sorry, everybody says 3 into 2 won't go, but then in that case, those 3 vintages make an ensemble which is just perfect.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. If you find yourself on another market, not the US market, you should all have that. Although people can come and take a look at the bottle, because we have the bottle for display here.
Yes, at Brandy Library you can see them.
Only for the eyes.
Yes.
Well, Alain, there are so many things to say about Frapin in general. If you had to give 4 key characters of Frapin, what would it be?
Elegance, texture, flower, and length and finish.
I like that.
And I like the word texture. It's very important. And very few people taste with their nose. Specialists do. But when you have enjoyed a nice dinner, your taste buds, your nose has disappeared a little. So if you want, as a sommelier, or if you want to describe a cognac, I really insist very much on the texture for the consumer, because this is where it happens.
So what makes a cognac very dry and another silky smooth, as we would say here?
The aging in different type of cellars and the way the wood has been treated. So the toasting of the wood, the quality of the oak that you have used. Most of the time it says Limousin, but certain companies will go to Tronchet, and those type of oaks will give you a different finish.
Isn't it more about the grain of the wood than the provenance of those trees?
Well, those trees, the provenance, the origin of these trees is the same forest at some kind of distance. Limousin oak is grown in the wild, so it tends, among bushes, so it tends to be wider. Therefore, the grain is wider. Tronchet oak has been planted by man since Louis XIV, and in big rows, so it's going to look for the light very high. Therefore, the grain will be tighter.
What does it do on the cognac?
There are less exchanges with the outside atmosphere and less intake of tannins in a tight grain, kinds of logic. In a wide grain, you will have much more exchanges with the outside and much more intake of wood tannins inside the barrel. And that is the main difference.
You're learning a lot today on BrainLibrary.tv with Alain Royer. Well, Alain, we cannot taste everything, but if you must say something about this extra, that should be by everybody's bedside.
Oh, absolutely. Plus a refill in the cellar. The extra, for those who have the chance of tasting it, is a unique experience in the cognac world. And it really beats a lot of the super premium cognacs which are out there. And it just stands alone.
As most cognacs, this is a blend. But what are the elements going into the blend?
Grand Champagne only, as always with Frapin. The average age is 50 years. And some of the most of those cognacs have come down by evaporation only to consumption strength. So there's hardly no reduction on this cognac, which gives it a width. It's ample, it's rich, it's soft, it's mellow, and it fills completely the mouth, and it will linger and stay in the palate for 10-15 minutes each time you've sipped a little of it.
You get me dreaming now. For our viewers who like to go to Cognac, is it possible for them to visit the house of Frapin?
By appointment, we welcome visitors, and they will have most of the time a private visit and a private tasting.
Beautiful. Well, Alain, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was very good. And well, santé to all.
Cheers.